Talking to people should feel natural, but for many, it feels uncomfortable. Awkward pauses, unclear words, the fear of saying the wrong thing. You are not alone. Most people do not struggle because they lack social skills. They struggle because they overthink. They worry about how they sound. They worry about being judged. This audiobook is for those moments. The moments when your mind goes blank, when your body feels tense, when small talk feels like a challenge. Here, you will learn how to talk to anyone without forcing confidence, without fake charm, without pretending to be someone else. You will learn simple human ways to feel relaxed in conversations, ways that work in real life, with real people. If you want to build this skill step by step, subscribe to this channel now. More audiobooks like this are released here regularly. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Why awkwardness feels so powerful. Awkwardness is not a personality flaw. It is a feeling, and feelings come from the body, not from truth. Most people think awkwardness means they are bad at talking. They believe it shows a lack of confidence. They believe others can see it clearly. That belief gives awkwardness its power. Awkwardness begins before you speak. It begins the moment you become aware of yourself. You notice your hands, your voice, your posture. Your attention turns inward. When attention turns inward, the body tightens, breathing becomes shallow, thoughts speed up. This is not a mistake. It is a survival response. Your brain thinks you are being evaluated. It prepares you for danger. But a conversation is not danger. Your body does not know that. This is why awkwardness feels so strong. It is physical before it is mental. Understanding this changes everything. Awkwardness is not proof that something is wrong. It is proof that your nervous system is active. Many confident people feel awkward. They just do not panic when it appears. Panic is what turns a small feeling into a big problem. When you panic, you try to escape the feeling. You rush your words. You force smiles. You over-explain. These reactions make things feel more awkward. Not because you failed, but because tension increases. The goal is not to eliminate awkwardness. The goal is to stop fighting it. Awkwardness grows when you resist it. It shrinks when you allow it. Think about the first moments of meeting someone new. There is uncertainty. There is silence. Silence does not mean failure. It means the connection has not formed yet. Connection takes time. But many people treat silence like a threat. They rush to fill it. They speak without grounding. This creates pressure. Pressure makes the body tighter. Tightness makes the voice less steady. Then the mind interprets this as proof. Proof that you are awkward. This creates a loop. Awkwardness feeds itself. Confidence breaks this loop by slowing it down. The first thing to understand is that awkwardness is shared. It is not one-sided. The person in front of you feels something too. They may feel uncertain. They may feel distracted. They may feel nervous, but you are only aware of your own body. This creates an illusion. The illusion that you are the only one struggling. That illusion is false. Conversations are built by two nervous systems, not one. When you remember this, pressure drops. Another reason awkwardness feels intense is meaning. People attach meaning to it. They think awkwardness means rejection. They think it means judgment. They think it means failure. But awkwardness usually means transition. It is the space between strangers and familiarity. Every connection passes through this space. Confident communicators accept this phase. They do not rush past it. They let things unfold naturally. Awkwardness also comes from expectation. People expect conversations to flow instantly. That expectation is unrealistic. Flow builds gradually. Even strong connections start unevenly. When you expect perfection, anything else feels wrong. When you expect normal human pauses, awkwardness loses power. Another important factor is self-monitoring. This is when you watch yourself too closely. You listen to your voice while speaking. You analyze your words while talking. This splits attention. Split attention weakens presence. Presence is what makes conversations feel natural. When you are present, you respond. When you are self-monitoring, you perform. Performance feels awkward. Presence feels calm. Awkwardness often appears when you try to control how you are perceived. You try to manage impressions. You try to seem interesting. You try to seem relaxed. Trying to seem relaxed creates tension. Real ease cannot be forced. Ease comes from acceptance. Acceptance of the moment. Acceptance of uncertainty. Acceptance of imperfection. Another reason awkwardness sticks is memory. Past awkward moments leave marks. Your brain remembers embarrassment. It tries to prevent it from happening again. So it raises alarm early. This alarm is not accurate. It is protective. When you treat it as danger, it grows. When you treat it as information, it calms. Information says this: you are in a new situation. Pay attention. Danger says this: something is wrong. Escape. Confidence listens to information, not to fear. Awkwardness also feels strong because of timing. It appears suddenly. One moment you are fine. The next moment you are hyper-aware. Sudden shifts feel intense. Intensity does not mean importance. It means change. Change always activates the nervous system. This happens even in positive moments. Excitement and awkwardness feel similar in the body. Fast heartbeat, energy, alertness. The difference is interpretation. When you label the feeling as awkwardness, the mind tightens. When you label it as energy, the body loosens. Labels matter. Another important idea is that awkwardness does not show as much as you think. Most of it is internal. Your inner experience feels loud, but your outer behavior often looks normal. People rarely notice small hesitations. They rarely analyze pauses. They are focused on meaning, not on micro moments. The mind exaggerates exposure. Confidence corrects this exaggeration. Awkwardness also comes from unclear intention. When you do not know why you are speaking, words feel forced. Clarity reduces awkwardness. You do not need a clever goal. Simple intention is enough. To connect, to understand, to share. When intention is clear, pressure drops. Another cause of awkwardness is rushing connection. People want instant comfort. Comfort builds with time. Trying to skip steps creates strain. Let conversations warm up naturally. Small talk is not meaningless. It is warming up. Awkwardness often lives in this warm-up phase. Do not rush through it. Stay present. Another factor is fear of judgment. Fear makes you cautious. Caution makes you stiff. Stiffness feels awkward. Judgment is possible, but it is not constant. Most people are kind. Most people are distracted. Fear magnifies rare moments into constant threat. Confidence reduces this distortion. Another reason awkwardness feels powerful is identity. People label themselves as awkward. This label becomes a lens. Every moment is filtered through it. Labels create patterns. Patterns reinforce beliefs. Confidence grows when you question labels. You may feel awkward sometimes. That does not make you an awkward person. You are a human in transition. Another important idea is that awkwardness passes. It always does. If you do nothing, it rises and falls. Fighting it keeps it alive. Allowing it lets it move. This is true for all feelings. Awkwardness is temporary. Confidence comes from trusting this. Another source of awkwardness is silence combined with expectation. Silence alone is neutral. Silence plus expectation feels heavy. Remove expectation. Silence becomes space. Space allows thinking. Thinking allows better responses. Another reason awkwardness stays is mental replay. After conversations, people replay moments. They focus on what felt off. This strengthens memory. Memory strengthens fear. Confidence shortens replay. Learn briefly, then move on. Another important idea is body orientation. If your body is closed, your mind feels closed. Crossed arms, shallow breath. These signals increase awkwardness. Relaxation reduces it. Small physical adjustments matter. Another cause of awkwardness is comparison. You compare your inner state to others' outer behavior. You see calm faces. You assume confidence. You do not see inner tension. This comparison is unfair. Everyone edits outwardly. Confidence comes from stopping this comparison. Another reason awkwardness feels strong is importance. You care about connection. Caring increases vulnerability. Vulnerability feels risky. Risk feels awkward. This is not weakness. It is humanity. Caring makes connection possible. Another important idea is that awkwardness is not the opposite of confidence. Avoidance is. Confidence allows awkwardness to exist without control. Avoidance lets fear decide. When you stay present despite awkwardness, confidence grows. Another factor is unfamiliar roles. New jobs, new groups, new people. Newness always creates awkwardness. It fades with familiarity. Familiarity comes from exposure. Exposure requires patience. Another reason awkwardness lingers is expectation of smoothness. Smoothness is a result, not a starting point. Accept rough beginnings. They lead to real connection. Another important truth is that awkwardness often signals growth. You are stretching beyond comfort. Growth feels unstable at first. Instability is temporary. Confidence grows on the other side. Another cause of awkwardness is internal pressure to be interesting. Interest cannot be forced. Interest grows through curiosity. Curiosity shifts focus outward. Outward focus reduces self-consciousness. Self-consciousness fuels awkwardness. Another helpful idea is naming the feeling internally. You can think, "This is awkwardness." Naming reduces power. Power comes from mystery. Understanding dissolves mystery. Another reason awkwardness feels big is because you think it must be fixed. Not everything must be fixed. Some things must be allowed. Allowing is a form of confidence. Another important idea is safety. Your body wants safety. Safety comes from breath, from grounding, from presence. When you create safety internally, awkwardness softens. Another challenge is impatience. People want awkwardness gone immediately. Impatience creates tension. Tension feeds awkwardness. Patience allows settling. Another truth is that awkwardness does not ruin conversations. Avoidance does. Most conversations recover naturally. Recovery does not require perfection. It requires staying. Stay present. Stay kind to yourself. Another idea is reframing awkwardness as a signal. It signals that something new is happening. Newness is opportunity. Opportunity requires courage. Courage feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is awkwardness. Another important truth is that you do not need to feel confident to act confidently. Action can lead feeling. Speak calmly even if you feel awkward. The body follows behavior. Behavior can lead emotion. Another cause of awkwardness is over-preparation. Prepared lines create rigidity. Rigidity clashes with real interaction. Flexibility feels natural. Confidence is flexible. Another idea is noticing moments when awkwardness fades. It fades when you listen, when you laugh naturally, when you stop monitoring. These moments show the path. Presence dissolves awkwardness. Another important idea is letting conversations be imperfect. Perfection kills spontaneity. Spontaneity creates warmth. Warmth builds connection. Connection reduces awkwardness. Another truth is that awkwardness does not define outcomes. Many strong relationships began awkwardly. Awkward beginnings do not predict weak connections. They often predict real ones. Another challenge is fear of first impressions. First impressions are flexible. They change quickly. Behavior over time matters more. Confidence trusts time. Another important idea is compassion. Treat yourself kindly when awkwardness appears. Harsh judgment intensifies it. Gentle acceptance calms it. Another truth is that awkwardness is a common human experience. You are not alone in it. Remembering this reduces isolation. Isolation strengthens fear. Connection weakens it. Another idea is grounding through attention. Focus on the other person's words. Listening reduces self-focus. Reduced self-focus reduces awkwardness. Another challenge is overthinking after the fact. Reflection is fine. Rumination is not. Choose learning over looping. Another important idea is that awkwardness often ends faster than you think. Time feels slower when anxious. Reality moves faster. Trust this. Another truth is that awkwardness does not block confidence. Resistance does. When you stop resisting, confidence has space. Another idea is patience with your nervous system. It learns slowly. Give it time. Another important idea is practice. Awkwardness decreases with exposure. Exposure builds familiarity. Familiarity builds ease. Ease feels like confidence. Another truth is that confidence is not smoothness, it is steadiness. Steadiness allows bumps. Bumps do not matter. Another idea is to redefine success. Success is staying present, not perfect flow. Presence is always possible. Another important idea is that awkwardness is a bridge. It connects strangers to familiarity. You must cross it. Do not turn back. Walk calmly. Confidence walks with you. And once you understand awkwardness, it loses its grip. Not because it disappears, but because it no longer controls you. That is where real confidence begins. Chapter 2. Shifting attention away from yourself. Awkwardness grows when attention turns inward. Confidence grows when attention moves outward. This shift sounds simple, but it changes everything. Most people feel awkward because they are watching themselves too closely. They monitor every word, every pause, every reaction. They ask themselves silent questions while speaking. How do I sound? Do I look strange? Was that stupid? This constant self-checking creates pressure. Pressure tightens the body. Tightness disrupts flow. Flow is what makes conversation feel natural. When attention is locked inside your head, you leave the moment. You are no longer fully present. Presence is replaced by performance. Performance feels awkward. Presence feels calm. Confidence begins when you learn to move attention outward. Outward attention means focusing on what is happening, not on how you appear. It means listening fully. It means noticing details outside yourself. This does not mean ignoring yourself completely. It means not obsessing. There is a difference. Awareness supports confidence. Obsession weakens it. The human mind was not designed to watch itself constantly. It becomes confused when it tries. Think about walking. You do not think about every step. If you did, walking would feel unnatural. Talking works the same way. When you trust automatic processes, flow appears. When you interfere too much, awkwardness grows. Self-focus often begins with fear of judgment. You worry others are evaluating you. This fear turns attention inward. But here is an important truth. You cannot control how others see you. Trying to manage perception increases anxiety. Confidence lets go of this illusion of control. You cannot control perception. You can control presence. Presence is enough. Another reason attention turns inward is unfamiliarity. New people, new environments. Your brain scans for threat. This scanning pulls attention inward. Instead of fighting this, gently redirect focus outward. Notice surroundings. Notice tone. Notice energy. Grounding through observation calms the nervous system. Calm allows confidence. One powerful way to shift attention outward is listening deeply. Not waiting to speak. Not planning responses. Just listening. Listening occupies the mind. When the mind is occupied with listening, it cannot obsess. This is why good listeners often feel confident. They are not trapped in self-analysis. Listening is active. It requires attention. Attention directed outward reduces self-consciousness. Another helpful approach is curiosity. Curiosity naturally pulls attention away from yourself. When you are curious, you want to understand. Understanding requires listening. Listening requires presence. Presence dissolves awkwardness. Curiosity replaces fear. You cannot be curious and anxious at the same time. Another reason self-focus creates awkwardness is time distortion. When you are anxious, moments feel longer. Silence feels endless. Pauses feel heavy. When attention is outward, time feels normal. Silence becomes neutral. Another helpful idea is focusing on meaning instead of delivery. What is being said matters more than how it sounds. Meaning connects people. Delivery improves naturally with comfort. Confidence prioritizes meaning. Another reason people stay self-focused is habit. They have practiced self-monitoring for years. Breaking habits takes time. Be patient. Each small shift outward weakens the habit. You do not need to eliminate self-focus completely. You need to reduce it enough to allow flow. Another helpful idea is sensory grounding. When you feel awkward, notice senses. What do you see? What do you hear? This pulls attention out of thought loops. Thought loops fuel awkwardness. Senses anchor you in reality. Reality is usually calmer than imagination. Another reason self-focus persists is identity. People see themselves as awkward. This identity keeps attention inward. You look for proof. Proof appears when you search. Stop searching. Let moments be. Another helpful idea is accepting imperfection. When you accept that mistakes are allowed, monitoring decreases. Perfectionism fuels self-focus. Acceptance frees attention. Another reason attention stays inward is overimportance. You assign too much importance to small interactions. Not every conversation is high stakes. Lowering stakes reduces pressure. Pressure feeds self-focus. Another helpful approach is focusing on contribution. Ask yourself what you can give to the moment. Listening, understanding, support. Contribution feels purposeful. Purpose shifts attention outward. Another reason self-focus causes awkwardness is fear of silence. Silence turns attention inward. When silence appears, you panic. But silence can be shared. Shared silence feels different. Allow silence to exist. Do not rush to fill it. Another helpful idea is breathing awareness. When attention drifts inward anxiously, return to breath. Breath anchors you. Anchoring stabilizes attention. Another reason self-focus feels intense is comparison. You compare yourself to others. Comparison pulls attention inward. Stop comparing. Comparison adds nothing to connection. Connection grows from presence. Another helpful idea is treating conversations as shared experiences. You are not responsible for everything. Responsibility is shared. Shared responsibility reduces self-pressure. Another reason self-focus increases is mental rehearsal. You rehearse what you will say next. This takes you out of listening. Listening is more valuable than rehearsal. Responses come naturally when you listen. Another helpful idea is letting go of evaluation. You evaluate yourself constantly. Evaluation creates distance. Distance blocks connection. Connection reduces awkwardness. Another reason attention stays inward is fear of making mistakes. Mistakes happen. Accepting this reduces monitoring. Monitoring tries to prevent mistakes, but it often causes them. Relaxation prevents more mistakes than control. Another helpful idea is remembering past successful interactions. You have spoken before. You survived. This memory builds trust. Trust allows outward focus. Another reason self-focus dominates is anticipation of future embarrassment. You imagine what could go wrong. Imagination feels real. Return to now. Now is usually safe. Another helpful idea is shifting from self-image to shared reality. Self-image is fragile. Shared reality is stable. Focus on what is actually happening. Another reason self-focus persists is emotional sensitivity. Sensitive people feel more. Feeling more is not weakness. It means you need better grounding. Grounding shifts attention outward. Another helpful idea is practicing in low-pressure situations. Practice outward focus where stakes are low. Skill transfers to harder situations. Another reason attention turns inward is lack of confidence. History. You may not have many positive experiences. Build them gradually. Small successes matter. Another helpful idea is noticing moments when you forget yourself. These moments show the path. What were you doing? You were listening. You were engaged. Repeat that. Another reason self-focus increases is fear of rejection. Rejection is possible, but connection is impossible without risk. Risk is part of life. Confidence accepts risk. Another helpful idea is shifting from self-protection to openness. Protection closes. Openness connects. Connection reduces awkwardness. Another reason attention stays inward is cultural pressure. Some cultures emphasize self-monitoring. Awareness helps you loosen it. Another helpful idea is naming self-focus internally. You can notice it without judgment. Noticing reduces grip. Another reason self-focus creates awkwardness is speed. Fast thinking overwhelms. Slow thinking calms. Slowing pace helps. Another helpful idea is focusing on shared goals. Why are you talking? To connect, to understand. Shared goals shift attention outward. Another reason self-focus feels intense is lack of rest. Fatigue increases anxiety. Care for yourself. Rest supports confidence. Another helpful idea is using questions. Questions naturally shift focus outward. They invite response. Response reduces pressure. Another reason attention stays inward is habit of self-criticism. Criticism keeps attention locked. Replace criticism with curiosity. Another helpful idea is trusting social instincts. Humans are social beings. You already know how to connect. Trust that. Another reason self-focus creates awkwardness is fear of unpredictability. Conversations are unpredictable. Accept this. Acceptance reduces tension. Another helpful idea is noticing warmth. Small warmth cues reduce awkwardness. A gentle tone, a calm pace. Warmth shifts attention outward. Another reason attention stays inward is fear of vulnerability. Vulnerability feels risky, but it creates connection. Connection reduces awkwardness. Another helpful idea is letting go of outcome. Do not aim for perfect conversation. Aim for presence. Presence is achievable. Another reason self-focus dominates is mental storytelling. You tell stories about what others think. Stories increase anxiety. Return to facts. Facts calm. Another helpful idea is ending internal commentary. You do not need a narrator, just be. Another reason attention stays inward is pressure to be interesting. Interest grows from curiosity. Curiosity shifts focus outward. Another helpful idea is practicing micro moments. Small outward shifts matter. Each one builds skill. Another reason self-focus persists is fear of exposure. You feel seen. Being seen is not dangerous. It is human. Another helpful idea is remembering shared humanity. Everyone struggles. This reduces isolation. Another reason attention stays inward is lack of trust in process. Trust that conversation will unfold. It usually does. Another helpful idea is staying flexible. If one approach feels stiff, adjust. Flexibility reduces pressure. Another reason self-focus causes awkwardness is emotional buildup. Release emotion gently. Do not suppress. Another helpful idea is grounding through posture. Relax shoulders. Relaxation signals safety. Another reason attention stays inward is desire to be liked. Being liked is nice, but it is not required. Respect yourself. Another helpful idea is practicing acceptance of silence. Silence shifts attention outward when accepted. Another reason self-focus dominates is fear of boredom. Not every moment must be exciting. Normal is fine. Another helpful idea is recognizing progress. Notice improvement. This builds trust. Another reason attention stays inward is habit of analysis. Analysis has its place. Conversation is not it. Another helpful idea is treating conversation as movement. You do not control every step. You move together. Another reason self-focus persists is past embarrassment. Past does not predict present. Release it. Another helpful idea is choosing curiosity over caution. Caution freezes. Curiosity flows. Another reason attention stays inward is emotional overload. Reduce load. Simplify. Another helpful idea is grounding through breath again. Breath always works. Another reason self-focus causes awkwardness is urgency. Urgency pressures. Slow down. Another helpful idea is trusting the other person. Trust that they are capable. Another reason attention stays inward is lack of patience. Patience builds ease. Another helpful idea is remembering why you care. You care because connection matters. That care is strength. Another reason self-focus dominates is fear of being ordinary. Ordinary is human. Human connects. Another helpful idea is allowing yourself to be quiet. Quiet does not mean awkward. It can mean thoughtful. Another reason attention stays inward is habit of self-judgment. Drop judgment. Judgment blocks flow. Another helpful idea is noticing success after conversations. You stayed. That is success. Another reason self-focus causes awkwardness is lack of compassion. Be kind to yourself. Kindness calms. Another helpful idea is practicing outward focus deliberately. Make it intention. Another reason attention stays inward is confusion about confidence. Confidence is not performance. It is presence. Another helpful idea is reminding yourself that conversation is shared. You are not alone. Another reason self-focus dominates is fear of failure. Failure is learning. Another helpful idea is reframing awkwardness as transition. Transition passes. Another reason attention stays inward is resistance. Stop resisting. Allowing reduces struggle. Another helpful idea is noticing how quickly awkwardness fades when you listen. This is proof. Another reason self-focus causes awkwardness is ignoring body signals. Listen to body. Ground. Another helpful idea is choosing calm over control. Control creates tension. Calm creates flow. Another reason attention stays inward is fear of unpredictability again. Unpredictability is life. Accept it. Another helpful idea is trusting yourself enough to stay. Staying builds confidence. Another reason self-focus dominates is thinking confidence is loud. Confidence is quiet. Quiet does not need monitoring. Another helpful idea is practicing presence daily. Presence grows with repetition. Another reason attention stays inward is fear of emptiness. Emptiness allows connection. Another helpful idea is ending conversations gently. Gentle endings reduce pressure. Another reason self-focus causes awkwardness is forgetting to enjoy moments. Enjoyment shifts attention outward. Another helpful idea is gratitude for connection attempts. Gratitude warms presence. Another reason attention stays inward is fear of missteps. Missteps are normal. Another helpful idea is remembering that attention can be trained. Train it gently. Another reason self-focus dominates is habit of self-defense. Lower defenses. Another helpful idea is noticing ease when you stop trying. This is the lesson. Another reason attention stays inward is belief that you must manage everything. You do not. Another helpful idea is trusting conversation to carry itself. It often does. Another reason self-focus causes awkwardness is ignoring that confidence is a skill. Skills improve. Another helpful idea is committing to outward attention as practice. Practice leads to ease. Another reason attention stays inward is fear of being seen. Being seen is connection. Another helpful idea is accepting awkwardness as part of learning. Learning requires discomfort. Another reason self-focus dominates is impatience again. Slow growth lasts. Another helpful idea is returning to breath again. Breath anchors everything. Another reason attention stays inward is habit of thinking too much. Thinking less helps. Another helpful idea is allowing yourself to be human. Humans are imperfect. Another reason self-focus causes awkwardness is forgetting that conversations are alive. They move. Another helpful idea is trusting movement. Movement finds balance. Another reason attention stays inward is fear of losing control. Control is illusion. Presence is real. Another helpful idea is letting go. When you let go of constant self-monitoring, something shifts. Your body relaxes. Your mind quiets. Your words come easier. Awkwardness loses its grip. Not because you forced confidence, but because you stopped watching yourself so closely. That is the beginning of talking to anyone without feeling awkward. Chapter 3. Letting conversations breathe naturally. Many conversations feel awkward because they are rushed. People try to make things smooth too quickly. They push for flow before it is ready. This pressure creates tension. Natural conversations breathe. They expand and pause. They move unevenly. Confidence grows when you allow this rhythm. Most people believe good conversations should flow immediately. When they do not, they assume something is wrong. That assumption creates anxiety, but early pauses are normal. They are part of warming up. Connection does not arrive instantly. It builds moment by moment. When you accept this, pressure drops. Pressure is what makes words feel forced. Forced words sound unnatural. Natural speech comes from comfort. Comfort comes from patience. Another reason conversations feel awkward is the fear of silence. Silence feels like a gap that must be filled. This belief is learned. It is not true. Silence is not failure. It is space. Space allows thoughts to form. It allows emotions to settle. When you rush to fill silence, you interrupt this process. Letting silence exist gives conversations room to grow. Confidence allows silence without panic. Another important idea is pacing. Pacing is how fast you speak and respond. Fast pacing often comes from nervousness. Slow pacing signals calm. You do not need to speak slowly. You need to avoid rushing. When you slow down slightly, words land better. People listen more closely. Listening improves connection. Connection reduces awkwardness. Another cause of forced conversation is trying to be interesting. People think they must entertain. This creates pressure. Conversation is not a performance. You do not need to impress. You need to engage. Engagement is simpler than entertainment. Engagement comes from presence. Presence allows conversation to breathe. Another reason conversations feel stiff is over-planning. You plan what to say next while the other person is speaking. This pulls you out of listening. Listening is what creates flow. When you listen fully, responses arise naturally. You do not need scripts. Scripts create rigidity. Flexibility feels natural. Confidence trusts flexibility. Another helpful idea is allowing small pauses before responding. You do not need instant replies. A brief pause shows thoughtfulness. It also calms your body. Calm bodies speak more smoothly. Another reason people rush conversations is fear of judgment. They worry silence will be judged. Most people do not judge silence. They experience it as normal. Your fear magnifies its importance. Confidence corrects this distortion. Another important idea is that conversation is a shared responsibility. You are not carrying it alone. When you stop carrying all the weight, pressure decreases. Pressure decreases awkwardness. Another cause of awkwardness is expecting constant engagement. People think attention must be continuous. Attention naturally rises and falls. Allowing this fluctuation keeps things relaxed. Relaxation supports natural flow. Another helpful idea is noticing body signals. If your body feels tense, slow down. If your breath is shallow, pause. These adjustments help conversation breathe. Another reason conversations feel forced is impatience. You want connection now. Connection takes time. Time allows trust. Trust makes conversation easier. Another important idea is accepting uneven starts. Most conversations begin unevenly. This does not predict failure. It predicts humanity. Another cause of awkwardness is resisting discomfort. Discomfort appears early. Resisting it makes it stronger. Allowing it lets it fade. Confidence allows discomfort to exist without reaction. Another helpful idea is letting the other person lead sometimes. You do not need to guide every moment. Shared leadership feels balanced. Balance feels comfortable. Another reason conversations feel unnatural is emotional pressure. You want a specific outcome. Releasing outcome allows presence. Presence supports flow. Another helpful idea is responding instead of reacting. Reaction is rushed. Response is measured. Measured responses feel calm. Calm feels confident. Another reason awkwardness persists is fear of boredom. You fear being boring. Boring is subjective. Genuine presence is rarely boring. Trying to avoid boredom creates tension. Tension blocks natural flow. Another important idea is that conversations have seasons. They begin, they grow, they end. Not every conversation needs to be long. Allowing natural endings prevents strain. Strain increases awkwardness. Another cause of stiffness is lack of breathing. People hold breath unconsciously. Holding breath increases anxiety. Breathing releases it. Release allows natural speech. Another helpful idea is matching energy, not copying, adjusting slightly. If energy is calm, slow down. If energy is light, allow warmth. This harmony supports ease. Another reason conversations feel forced is self-judgment during speaking. You judge while talking. Judgment splits attention. Split attention disrupts flow. Confidence suspends judgment. Judgment can wait. Another important idea is allowing conversations to be ordinary. Not every exchange must be meaningful. Ordinary moments build comfort. Comfort reduces awkwardness. Another cause of pressure is expectation of chemistry. Chemistry cannot be forced. It appears naturally, or it does not. Confidence accepts this. Not every interaction must click. Another helpful idea is focusing on one moment at a time. Do not think ahead. Stay here. Presence anchors conversation. Another reason conversations feel awkward is lack of grounding. Grounding stabilizes attention. Feel your body. Feel your breath. This keeps you present. Another helpful idea is observing when conversation feels easiest. It feels easiest when you stop trying. This observation teaches you. Another reason conversations feel unnatural is fear of mistakes. Mistakes happen. They rarely matter. Accepting this relaxes you. Relaxation allows flow. Another important idea is staying curious about pauses. Pauses are informative. They show thought. They show emotion. Curiosity replaces fear. Another cause of awkwardness is pushing humor. Forced humor feels tense. Natural humor appears when relaxed. Relaxation allows laughter. Another helpful idea is noticing when conversation breathes naturally. It happens when both people feel safe. Safety comes from calm presence. Another reason conversations feel stiff is emotional guarding. Guarding blocks connection. Gentle openness invites flow. Another important idea is trusting the conversation. Conversations often correct themselves. You do not need to fix everything. Another cause of awkwardness is thinking conversations must be efficient. Efficiency kills warmth. Warmth builds connection. Another helpful idea is slowing internal pace. Your mind may race. Slow it. This slows speech naturally. Another reason conversations feel forced is fear of vulnerability. Vulnerability allows real connection. You do not need to share deeply. Small honesty is enough. Another important idea is letting conversation end without forcing continuation. Endings matter. Natural endings feel respectful. Respect reduces awkwardness. Another cause of awkwardness is mental replay while still talking. Replay pulls you out. Stay present. Another helpful idea is noticing micro-relaxation. Relax jaw, relax shoulders. Small relaxations matter. Another reason conversations feel unnatural is ignoring rhythm. Rhythm includes pauses. Pauses give shape. Another important idea is allowing space for response. Do not interrupt silence prematurely. Respect thinking time. Another cause of awkwardness is over-responsibility again. You do not need to carry conversation alone. Shared space is enough. Another helpful idea is noticing how flow returns when you stop pushing. This is proof. Another reason conversations feel forced is fear of losing control. Control creates stiffness. Let go. Another important idea is patience with yourself. Learning natural flow takes time. Time builds familiarity. Familiarity reduces awkwardness. Another cause of awkwardness is expecting immediate ease with everyone. People differ. Ease varies. Accept variation. Another helpful idea is grounding again. Breath anchors everything. Another reason conversations feel unnatural is lack of self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Kindness relaxes. Another important idea is recognizing progress. Each relaxed moment matters. Another cause of awkwardness is forgetting to enjoy interaction. Enjoyment relaxes. Relaxation supports flow. Another helpful idea is trusting silence again. Silence breathes. Another reason conversations feel forced is fear of nothing happening. Nothing happening is part of something happening. Another important idea is letting conversations be alive. Alive things move unevenly. Accept this. When you stop forcing conversation to be smooth, it finds its own rhythm. That rhythm feels natural. A natural conversation is where awkwardness begins to fade. Chapter 4. Starting conversations without pressure. Starting a conversation is often the hardest part, not because you lack words, but because pressure builds before you speak. Your mind asks questions too early. What if this is awkward? What if they are not interested? What if I say the wrong thing? This pressure freezes action. Confidence begins when you understand that starting a conversation does not require brilliance. It requires presence. Most people believe a strong opening line is necessary. They think they need something clever, something impressive. This belief creates unnecessary stress. In reality, most conversations start simply. A comment, a question, an observation. Simple openings work because they are natural. Pressure comes from expectation, not from reality. Another reason starting feels difficult is outcome focus. You imagine how the conversation should go. This imagined future pulls you out of the present. The present is where conversation actually begins. Confidence brings attention back to now. You do not need to predict the entire interaction. You only need to begin. Beginning is a small step. Small steps feel safer. Another important idea is that conversations do not begin with words. They begin with energy, your tone, your pace, your openness. A calm tone matters more than perfect phrasing. People respond to how you speak, not just what you say. If your tone is relaxed, words land gently. Another reason starting feels awkward is fear of interruption. You worry you are bothering someone. This fear often has little evidence. Most people are open to brief interaction. If they are not, it shows quickly. You do not need to carry responsibility for their mood. Confidence respects signals. If someone seems unavailable, you can step back calmly. Stepping back is not rejection. It is awareness. Another cause of pressure is thinking you must hold the conversation. This belief creates anxiety. Conversation is shared. You are not responsible for carrying everything. Starting is an invitation, not a commitment. If the other person responds, connection grows. If not, the moment passes. Both outcomes are okay. Another helpful idea is starting with context. Context grounds conversation. You can comment on shared space, shared activity, shared moment. This feels natural. Context reduces risk. Risk perception increases awkwardness. Another reason starting feels hard is internal urgency. You feel you must speak quickly. Urgency tightens the body. Slow down. You can pause before speaking. Pausing calms nerves. Calm supports clarity. Another important idea is intention. Why are you starting this conversation? Is it to connect, to ask, to acknowledge? Clear intention reduces pressure. When intention is clear, words follow easily. Another reason starting feels awkward is fear of silence after opening. You imagine saying something and receiving nothing. Silence is possible. Silence does not mean failure. Silence may mean thinking or distraction. You can allow silence. Confidence allows silence without self-judgment. Another helpful idea is using curiosity as fuel. Curiosity pulls you outward. When you are curious, you want to know more. This curiosity naturally opens conversation. Curiosity is lighter than performance. Performance creates pressure. Another cause of difficulty is overthinking timing. You wait for the perfect moment. Perfect moments rarely arrive. Good enough moments do. Confidence acts in good enough moments. Another reason starting feels hard is past rejection. Past experiences leave marks. Your mind remembers discomfort. It tries to protect you. Protection can become avoidance. Confidence thanks protection, then chooses differently. Another helpful idea is lowering stakes mentally. Not every conversation matters deeply. Lowering importance reduces fear. Fear blocks action. Another reason starting feels awkward is self-judgment. You judge yourself before others can. This judgment creates hesitation. Replace judgment with allowance. Allow yourself to be imperfect. Imperfect beginnings are normal. Another helpful idea is physical grounding before starting. Feel your feet. Breathe. Grounding stabilizes nerves. Stability supports speech. Another reason starting feels difficult is lack of practice. Avoidance reduces familiarity. Familiarity reduces fear. Practice builds familiarity. Small starts count. Another helpful idea is to think of starting as offering, not imposing. You offer a moment of connection. The other person can accept or decline. This reframing reduces pressure. Another reason starting feels awkward is expectation of immediate warmth. Warmth builds gradually. Do not expect instant comfort. Allow the interaction to warm naturally. Another helpful idea is noticing body signals when you want to speak. Tightness signals fear. Breathe into tightness. Relaxation helps words emerge. Another reason starting feels hard is comparison. You compare yourself to confident starters. You see outcomes, not inner effort. Everyone feels hesitation sometimes. Confidence is acting despite hesitation. Another helpful idea is simplicity. Short openings reduce pressure. You do not need long explanations. A few words are enough. Another reason starting feels awkward is mental rehearsal. Rehearsal creates rigidity. Real conversation is flexible. Trust flexibility. Another helpful idea is being okay with short conversations. Not every start leads to long talk. Short exchanges are valuable. They build comfort over time. Another reason starting feels difficult is fear of being ignored. Ignoring happens sometimes. It is not personal. People have their own worlds. Confidence does not take it personally. Another helpful idea is observing your environment for openings. Shared experiences create natural starts. Observation grounds you. Grounding reduces anxiety. Another reason starting feels awkward is internal pressure to be interesting. Interest grows through exchange. You do not need to bring it alone. Another helpful idea is acknowledging the moment. A simple acknowledgement creates connection. Acknowledgement is human. Another reason starting feels hard is uncertainty. Uncertainty is part of interaction. Accept uncertainty. Acceptance reduces tension. Another helpful idea is using calm body language. Open posture, gentle eye contact. Body language starts conversation before words. Another reason starting feels awkward is fear of misreading signals. Misreading happens. You can adjust. Adjustment is not failure. Another helpful idea is trusting social instincts. Humans are wired to connect. Trust that wiring. Another reason starting feels difficult is fear of embarrassment. Embarrassment passes. Avoidance lasts longer. Confidence chooses short discomfort over long regret. Another helpful idea is focusing on one person, not the crowd. Crowds increase pressure. One person feels manageable. Another reason starting feels awkward is thinking conversation must be smooth. Smoothness develops. Beginnings are often uneven. Uneven is normal. Another helpful idea is practicing neutral openings. Neutral reduces risk. Risk perception increases anxiety. Another reason starting feels hard is emotional load. Stress amplifies fear. Be patient with yourself. Another helpful idea is recognizing readiness. If you feel curious, start. Curiosity signals readiness. Another reason starting feels awkward is self-doubt. Doubt questions worth. You are allowed to speak. Permission matters. Another helpful idea is remembering that conversation is cooperative. The other person contributes too. Shared effort reduces pressure. Another reason starting feels difficult is thinking about ending too early. Focus on beginning. Endings can come later. Another helpful idea is letting conversation be light. Lightness reduces fear. Not every interaction must be meaningful. Another reason starting feels awkward is fear of saying nothing valuable. Value is subjective. Presence has value. Another helpful idea is trusting first words. First words do not need to be perfect. They just need to exist. Another reason starting feels hard is anticipating evaluation. Evaluation is not constant. Most people are neutral. Another helpful idea is being okay with nervousness. Nervousness does not block action. Action reduces nervousness. Another reason starting feels awkward is internal storytelling. Stories about rejection. Stories increase fear. Return to facts. Facts are calmer. Another helpful idea is practicing micro-starts. Short comments count. Each start builds confidence. Another reason starting feels hard is fear of commitment. Starting does not lock you in. You can exit calmly. Another helpful idea is noticing when starts go well. Acknowledge success. Success builds confidence. Another reason starting feels awkward is pressure to be liked. Being liked is not required. Respect yourself. Another helpful idea is remembering that silence before starting is okay. You can wait. Waiting does not mean avoidance. Another reason starting feels difficult is fatigue. Fatigue increases anxiety. Care for yourself. Another helpful idea is using breath again. Breath always helps. Another reason starting feels awkward is lack of trust in yourself. Trust grows through action. Another helpful idea is letting go of internal commentary. You do not need to narrate, just speak. Another reason starting feels hard is fear of mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning. Another helpful idea is grounding in values. Speak when it matters to you. Values strengthen confidence. Another reason starting feels awkward is forgetting that others appreciate connection. Many people welcome it. Another helpful idea is practicing kindness toward yourself. Kindness reduces pressure. Another reason starting feels hard is urgency again. Slow down. Another helpful idea is allowing starts to be ordinary. Ordinary builds comfort. Another reason starting feels awkward is expecting immediate payoff. Payoff comes later. Another helpful idea is trusting that beginning is enough. You do not need to know the rest. When you release pressure around starting, something shifts. Your body relaxes. Your voice steadies. Your words come easier. Starting becomes lighter. Not because fear disappeared, but because you stopped demanding perfection from the first moment. That is how you start talking to anyone without feeling awkward. Chapter 5. Keeping conversations going without forcing them. Many conversations do not end because people run out of words. They end because pressure appears. Pressure to be interesting. Pressure to respond perfectly.
Pressure
to keep things alive. This pressure makes conversations feel heavy. Confidence grows when you learn that conversations do not need to be forced. They need to be allowed. Keeping a conversation going is not about constant talking. It is about staying present. Presence creates continuity. When you are present, you notice cues. You notice interest. You notice pauses. These cues guide the conversation naturally. Many people believe that silence means the conversation is dying. This belief creates panic. Panic leads to rushed words. Rushed words often feel unnatural. Natural conversation includes pauses. Pauses are not endings. They are transitions. When you allow transitions, flow continues. Another reason conversations feel forced is outcome focus. You want the conversation to last. You want it to be meaningful. This desire adds pressure. Pressure disrupts ease. Ease is what keeps conversations alive. Another important idea is that conversations have natural waves. They rise, they settle, they rise again. Trying to keep energy high at all times exhausts both people. Confidence respects natural rhythm. Another reason conversations stall is listening fatigue. When you stop listening deeply, connection weakens. Listening renews energy. When you listen, you find new entry points. Entry points allow continuation. Another helpful idea is responding to what was said, not to what you planned. Planning pulls you out of the moment. Responding keeps you in it. When you respond naturally, conversation builds on itself. Another cause of forced conversation is over-explaining. You add too much detail. Too much detail overwhelms. Simplicity keeps things moving. Short responses invite reply. Long explanations close space. Another important idea is curiosity again. Curiosity fuels continuation. When you are curious, you want to know more. Knowing more keeps conversation alive. Curiosity shifts focus outward. Outward focus reduces self-consciousness. Another reason conversations feel forced is fear of boredom. You fear the other person is bored. This fear often has no evidence. Fear creates tension. Tension disrupts flow. Trust reduces fear. Trust that conversation can be simple. Simple does not mean boring. Simple often feels safe. Another helpful idea is letting the other person contribute. You do not need to fill every gap. Shared contribution creates balance. Balance feels comfortable. Comfort supports continuation. Another reason conversations stall is emotional guarding. You hold back too much. Holding back limits connection. Small openness invites response. You do not need to share deeply. Small honesty is enough. Another important idea is noticing energy shifts. If energy drops, it may be time to pause or change topic. Changing topic is not failure. It is responsiveness. Responsiveness keeps conversations alive. Another cause of awkward continuation is ignoring cues. If someone gives short answers, adjust. Adjustment is awareness. Awareness builds comfort. Another helpful idea is asking simple follow-up questions. Follow-ups show attention. Attention builds trust. Trust encourages sharing. Sharing keeps conversation going. Another reason conversations feel forced is pressure to match energy. You try to be upbeat when energy is calm. Mismatch creates strain. Matching gently creates harmony. Harmony supports flow. Another important idea is accepting that not every conversation must continue. Some conversations end naturally. Ending naturally is confident. Forcing continuation creates awkwardness. Another cause of pressure is fear of endings. Endings feel like failure. They are not. They are part of rhythm. Confidence allows endings without judgment. Another helpful idea is noticing your body during conversation. If you feel tense, slow down. Slowing reduces pressure. Reduced pressure allows flow. Another reason conversations feel unnatural is internal commentary. You judge yourself while speaking. Judgment pulls you out. Presence brings you back. Another helpful idea is staying with one topic a bit longer. Jumping topics too fast creates instability. Staying allows depth. Depth strengthens connection. Another reason conversations stall is lack of grounding. Grounding keeps you steady. Steady presence encourages continuation. Another helpful idea is letting humor arise naturally. Forced humor feels strained. Natural humor appears with ease. Ease supports continuation. Another reason conversations feel forced is mental fatigue. Fatigue reduces attention. Take care of energy. Energy supports communication. Another important idea is acknowledging what the other person says. Acknowledgement validates. Validation encourages response. Response continues conversation. Another cause of awkward continuation is fear of vulnerability. Vulnerability invites connection. You do not need to overshare. A small personal note can open space. Another helpful idea is trusting the process again. Conversations evolve. You do not need to steer constantly. Steering too much disrupts flow. Another reason conversations stall is trying to impress. Impressing creates performance. Performance blocks authenticity. Authenticity supports continuation. Another helpful idea is allowing yourself to be quiet briefly. Quiet moments can refresh conversation. Refreshment allows continuation. Another reason conversations feel forced is self-doubt. Doubt questions worth. Release doubt. Your presence has value. Another important idea is letting conversations be ordinary again. Ordinary moments build familiarity. Familiarity supports ease. Another cause of awkwardness is rushing to avoid silence. Avoidance creates tension. Acceptance relaxes. Another helpful idea is observing how conversations continue when you relax. Relaxation allows natural cues. Cues guide next steps. Another reason conversations stall is fear of rejection. Rejection is possible. Avoidance guarantees disconnection. Confidence chooses engagement. Another helpful idea is noticing when conversation feels good. What are you doing then? You are listening. You are present. Repeat that. Another reason conversations feel forced is pressure to be memorable. Memorability grows naturally. You cannot force it. Another helpful idea is respecting boundaries. If someone disengages, accept it. Acceptance preserves dignity. Dignity supports confidence. Another cause of awkward continuation is ignoring your own needs. If you feel drained, it is okay to pause. Pausing is confident. Another important idea is letting conversations breathe again. Breathing keeps them alive. Another reason conversations feel forced is thinking they must lead somewhere. They do not. Sometimes they are just moments. Moments matter. Another helpful idea is grounding in kindness. Kindness softens interaction. Softness supports continuation. Another reason conversations stall is fear of missteps. Missteps are normal. Recovery keeps conversation alive. Another helpful idea is not overcorrecting mistakes. Small mistakes pass. Overcorrection adds tension. Another reason conversations feel unnatural is internal pressure to be smooth. Smoothness is a result. Relaxation is the cause. Another helpful idea is noticing the other person's pace. Match gently. Matching builds comfort. Another cause of awkward continuation is mental rehearsal again. Drop rehearsal. Respond naturally. Another important idea is letting conversation end when it wants to. Natural endings feel complete. Forcing continuation feels hollow. Another helpful idea is trusting that silence does not erase connection. Connection can survive quiet. Another reason conversations feel forced is fear of being forgotten. Connection is not measured by length. Quality matters more. Another helpful idea is focusing on warmth rather than words. Warmth keeps conversations alive. Another cause of awkwardness is ignoring intuition. Intuition often knows when to continue or pause. Listen to it. Another important idea is practicing presence daily. Presence builds skill. Skill builds confidence. Another reason conversations stall is emotional overload. Simplify. Simple responses are fine. Another helpful idea is letting conversation be imperfect. Imperfection keeps it real. Another cause of forced continuation is lack of trust in yourself. Trust grows with experience. Each conversation adds experience. Another helpful idea is observing how others continue conversations. They pause, they listen, they respond. Nothing dramatic. Another reason conversations feel forced is pressure to perform socially. Release performance. Be human. Another helpful idea is remembering that conversations are co-created. You are not alone. Another cause of awkward continuation is focusing on endings too early. Stay in the moment. Another helpful idea is grounding again through breath. Breath steadies. Another reason conversations feel unnatural is fear of being judged mid-conversation. Judgment fades, presence remains. Another helpful idea is trusting shared humanity. Everyone wants ease. Another cause of awkward continuation is internal noise. Quiet it gently. Another helpful idea is enjoying listening. Enjoyment shows. Another reason conversations feel forced is forgetting that you can pause. Pauses refresh. Another helpful idea is accepting that some conversations are short. Short is fine. Another cause of awkwardness is forcing depth. Depth emerges. Do not push. Another helpful idea is noticing relief when you stop trying. That relief shows the way. Another reason conversations stall is lack of patience. Patience allows unfolding. Another helpful idea is staying grounded in values. Speak with respect. Another cause of forced continuation is fear of letting go. Letting go can feel good. Another helpful idea is ending conversations kindly. Kind endings preserve confidence. Another reason conversations feel unnatural is ignoring your own comfort. Comfort matters. Another helpful idea is trusting that ease grows with repetition. Practice builds ease. Another cause of awkward continuation is thinking conversation must be linear. It is not. It loops. It pauses. Accept this.
Another helpful idea is noticing how conversation continues when you relax your jaw.
Small relaxations matter. Another reason conversations feel forced is emotional tension. Release tension. Another helpful idea is staying curious again. Curiosity fuels continuation. Another cause of awkwardness is fear of saying nothing valuable. Value is subjective. Presence has value. Another helpful idea is remembering that connection is not fragile. It can handle pauses. Another reason conversations stall is lack of confidence in silence. Silence can be shared. Another helpful idea is practicing acceptance of endings. Endings do not erase connection. Another cause of forced continuation is overthinking outcomes. Outcomes unfold. Another helpful idea is grounding one more time. Breath, body. When you stop forcing conversations to continue, something shifts. Your body relaxes. Your mind quiets. Your attention stays present. Conversation begins to move on its own. Not perfectly, not constantly, but naturally. And natural movement is what keeps conversations alive without awkwardness. Chapter 6. Ending conversations without feeling awkward. Ending a conversation often feels harder than starting one. Not because you want to stay, but because you do not know how to leave. Many people stay too long. They feel trapped. They wait for the perfect ending. Others leave too fast. They rush away. They disappear abruptly. Both reactions come from the same place. Fear. Fear of being rude. Fear of being judged. Fear of creating awkwardness. Confidence grows when you understand this truth. Endings do not need to be perfect. They need to be respectful. A conversation does not fail because it ends. It completes. Completion is natural. Every conversation has a life cycle. It begins. It unfolds. It slows down. Ignoring this rhythm creates discomfort. Confidence respects rhythm. One reason endings feel awkward is expectation. People think endings must sound smooth or clever. This expectation creates pressure. In reality, most endings are simple. They are brief. They are human. Simple endings feel honest. Another reason endings feel difficult is guilt. You worry you are cutting someone off. But choosing to end a conversation is not rejection. It is timing. Timing matters. People understand timing more than you think. Another cause of awkward endings is waiting too long. You feel the energy drop, but you stay. Staying past natural endings increases discomfort. Confidence listens to energy. When energy settles, it is okay to close. Another reason endings feel hard is fear of silence. Silence appears near endings. You think silence means failure. Silence often means completion. Completion needs space. Allow it. Another important idea is clarity. Clear endings feel calmer than vague ones. Vague endings create uncertainty. Clarity reduces anxiety. You do not need long explanations. Short, calm statements work best. Another reason endings feel awkward is over-explaining. You justify leaving too much. Justification sounds defensive. Confidence does not defend timing. It states it calmly. Another helpful idea is acknowledging the interaction. Acknowledgement shows respect. Respect softens endings. Soft endings feel confident. Another cause of awkwardness is emotional attachment. You worry about losing connection. Connection does not disappear because a conversation ends. It can resume later. Confidence trusts continuity. Another reason endings feel difficult is people-pleasing. You prioritize comfort of others over your own. This creates resentment. Confidence balances respect with self-respect. Another important idea is that endings do not require consensus. You do not need permission to leave. You can choose. Choice is confidence. Another reason endings feel awkward is fear of misinterpretation. You worry they will think you are bored. Most people do not assume this. They understand life moves. Another helpful idea is tone. Tone matters more than words. A calm tone signals respect. Respect reduces awkwardness. Another cause of discomfort is sudden endings. Sudden endings feel jarring. Gentle transitions feel smoother. Transition does not need length. It needs awareness. Another important idea is body language. Body language often ends conversations before words. Shifting posture, stepping back. These cues prepare the ending. Preparation reduces surprise. Another reason endings feel hard is lack of practice. Avoidance limits experience. Experience builds ease. Another helpful idea is accepting discomfort. Even good endings may feel slightly awkward. This does not mean failure. It means humanity. Confidence allows mild discomfort. Another cause of awkward endings is fear of hurting feelings. Respectful endings rarely hurt. Dragging conversations often does. Another important idea is staying present during endings. Do not rush mentally. Stay calm. Calm endings feel complete. Another reason endings feel difficult is internal commentary. You judge yourself while ending. Judgment increases tension. Drop judgment. Another helpful idea is recognizing signals from others. They may give cues, short responses, glancing away. These cues often signal readiness to end. Responding to cues shows awareness. Awareness builds confidence. Another cause of awkwardness is fear of finality. Endings feel final. Most endings are temporary. Confidence remembers this. Another important idea is not reopening conversation after ending. Ending then continuing creates confusion. End cleanly. Clean endings feel confident. Another reason endings feel hard is fear of missing opportunity. Opportunities return. Forcing stays creates strain. Another helpful idea is aligning endings with intention. Why did you start? If intention is fulfilled, ending is natural. Another cause of awkwardness is lingering too long at goodbye. Lingering increases discomfort. Simple farewells feel better. Another important idea is trust. Trust that your presence was enough. You do not need to prove value at the end. Another reason endings feel awkward is thinking too much. Thinking intensifies emotion. Calm action reduces it. Another helpful idea is grounding through breath again. Breath steadies nerves. Another cause of discomfort is lack of self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Endings are skills. Skills improve with practice. Another important idea is that confident people end conversations all the time. They do not see it as failure. They see it as flow. Flow includes endings. Another reason endings feel difficult is attachment to outcome. Release outcome. Focus on respect. Another helpful idea is noticing relief after ending. Relief signals readiness. Honor it. Another cause of awkward endings is forgetting your needs. Your energy matters. Respecting energy builds confidence. Another important idea is that you can end conversations early. You do not need to wait. Waiting builds resentment. Another reason endings feel awkward is fear of being remembered poorly. Most people remember tone, not timing. Tone is within your control. Another helpful idea is practicing endings in low-pressure situations. Practice builds ease. Another cause of awkwardness is internal pressure to be nice. Niceness without honesty feels false. Honesty with kindness feels strong. Another important idea is consistency. Endings become easier each time. Another reason endings feel hard is fear of creating distance. Distance can be healthy. Healthy distance supports future connection. Another helpful idea is allowing yourself to leave on a high note. You do not need to wait for decline. Ending when things feel complete feels good. Another cause of awkward endings is lack of clarity in yourself. Check your internal signal. If you feel done, you are done. Trust that. Another important idea is letting go of the need to explain everything. Explanations are not always required. Another reason endings feel awkward is thinking you must make others comfortable. You can be respectful without managing feelings. Another helpful idea is remembering that conversations are voluntary. Voluntary participation includes voluntary endings. Another cause of discomfort is staying because of fear. Fear-driven stays drain energy. Confidence-driven endings preserve it. Another important idea is allowing silence at the end. Silence can be part of closure. Another reason endings feel awkward is fear of judgment again. Judgment fades. Respect remains. Another helpful idea is practicing gentle exits. Gentle exits become natural. Another cause of awkwardness is not trusting your instincts. Instincts often know timing. Trust them. Another important idea is noticing how confident people leave. They leave calmly. They do not rush. They do not linger. They respect rhythm. Another reason endings feel difficult is expecting gratitude. Gratitude may come or not. Ending is not a transaction. Another helpful idea is acknowledging yourself after endings. You did it. Acknowledgement builds confidence. Another cause of awkward endings is forgetting that conversations do not define you. They are moments. Moments pass. Another important idea is allowing endings to feel slightly unfinished. Life is unfinished. Accepting this reduces pressure. Another reason endings feel awkward is pressure to be memorable. Presence is enough. Another helpful idea is staying grounded until the end. Do not mentally leave early. Grounding keeps endings smooth. Another cause of awkwardness is ignoring fatigue. Fatigue increases anxiety. Rest matters. Another important idea is choosing calm over speed. Calm endings feel confident. Another reason endings feel hard is fear of discomfort again. Discomfort is tolerable. Confidence tolerates discomfort. Another helpful idea is seeing endings as transitions. Transitions lead to new moments. Another cause of awkward endings is lack of self-trust. Trust grows with action. Another important idea is practicing endings intentionally. Intentional practice builds skill. Another reason endings feel awkward is forgetting shared humanity. Everyone ends conversations. You are not alone. Another helpful idea is breathing one last time before ending. Breath calms. Another cause of awkwardness is overthinking words. Simple words work. Another important idea is releasing responsibility after ending. Once ended, let it go. Another reason endings feel awkward is replaying afterward. Replay strengthens fear. Choose learning, then release. Another helpful idea is noticing confidence grow with each ending. Confidence accumulates. Another cause of awkward endings is pressure to be perfect. Perfection is unnecessary. Another important idea is acceptance. Endings are part of conversation. Accept them. When you stop fearing endings, conversations feel lighter. You start more easily. You continue naturally. You end calmly. This balance removes pressure. And when pressure fades, awkwardness loses its power. Chapter 7. Being yourself without overthinking how you come across. One of the biggest reasons conversations feel awkward is this simple truth. People try too hard to be someone else. They try to sound confident. They try to sound interesting. They try to sound relaxed. This effort creates tension. Confidence does not come from becoming someone new. It comes from allowing who you already are. Many people believe being themselves is risky. They fear their natural way of speaking is not enough. They fear being judged for being quiet, thoughtful, or different. This fear pushes them to perform. Performance feels exhausting. Exhaustion increases awkwardness. Confidence begins when you stop performing. Being yourself does not mean saying everything that comes to mind. It means speaking from a place that feels honest. Honesty feels lighter than performance. Another reason people struggle to be themselves is overthinking perception. They constantly wonder how they are being seen. This question pulls attention inward. Inward attention breaks presence. Presence is what makes communication feel natural. When you are present, you respond honestly. When you are monitoring yourself, you act. Action without presence feels awkward. Another important idea is that everyone has a different communication style. Some people are energetic. Some are calm. Some speak slowly. Some speak with pauses. No style is wrong. Awkwardness appears when you fight your natural style. If you are naturally calm, forcing energy feels unnatural. If you are naturally expressive, holding back feels tense. Confidence grows when you work with your style, not against it. Another reason being yourself feels difficult is fear of rejection. You worry that your true self will not be accepted. This fear comes from past experiences, moments when you felt misunderstood or dismissed. Your brain remembers those moments. It tries to protect you by encouraging performance. Protection can become a cage. Confidence thanks the protection and chooses freedom. Another important idea is that people connect more with authenticity than perfection. Perfect words feel distant. Real words feel warm. Warmth builds connection. Connection reduces awkwardness. Another reason people overthink being themselves is comparison. They compare their inner state to others' outer behavior. They see smooth talkers. They assume ease. They do not see inner effort. This comparison creates false standards. Confidence releases comparison. You do not need to match anyone. Another important idea is that being yourself includes allowing pauses. You do not need to speak constantly. Quiet moments do not reduce value. Quiet can feel grounded. Grounded presence feels confident. Another cause of overthinking is fear of saying something wrong. You censor yourself too early. Censorship interrupts flow. Flow returns when you allow imperfect expression. Another important idea is trusting first responses. Your first response is often more natural than your edited one. Editing creates delay. Delay increases self-consciousness. Confidence trusts initial instinct. Another reason people struggle to be themselves is identity labels. They label themselves as awkward, shy, or boring. These labels influence behavior. When you believe a label, you act to confirm it. Confidence questions labels. You may feel awkward sometimes. That does not define you. Another important idea is that being yourself does not mean oversharing. It means being aligned. Alignment means your words match your inner state. When alignment exists, tension fades. Another reason overthinking appears is pressure to be liked. Being liked feels important, but trying to be liked weakens confidence. Confidence respects itself first. Respect attracts connection naturally. Another important idea is noticing moments when you feel most natural. Often, it is when you are focused on something meaningful. When you forget yourself, these moments show your natural state. Return to them. Another cause of awkwardness is trying to control reactions. You want others to respond positively. Control increases pressure. Release control. You can offer honesty. You cannot manage reactions. Confidence accepts this. Another important idea is emotional permission. Give yourself permission to feel nervous and speak anyway. Nervousness does not cancel authenticity. Authenticity includes emotion. Another reason being yourself feels risky is unfamiliar environments. New settings amplify self-consciousness. This is temporary. Familiarity reduces fear. Give yourself time. Another important idea is that authenticity grows with repetition. Each time you show up honestly, confidence strengthens. Confidence is built through action. Another cause of overthinking is mental replay. You replay what you said. Replay fuels doubt. Confidence shortens replay. Learn briefly, then move on. Another important idea is self-compassion. Speak to yourself kindly. Kindness reduces tension. Reduced tension allows authenticity. Another reason people struggle to be themselves is thinking authenticity must be dramatic. It does not. Authenticity can be simple. A calm comment, a thoughtful pause. Simplicity feels natural. Another important idea is trusting your pace. You do not need to match speed. Your pace is valid. Confidence honors pace. Another cause of awkwardness is fear of vulnerability. Vulnerability creates connection. You do not need deep vulnerability. Small honesty is enough. Another important idea is grounding through the body. Relax your shoulders. Breathe. Physical ease supports authentic speech. Another reason people overthink is social pressure. Social rules feel unclear. When in doubt, choose respect. Respect is always appropriate. Another important idea is that being yourself does not mean never adjusting. Adjustment is natural. Losing yourself is not. Know the difference. Another cause of awkwardness is thinking confidence must be visible. Confidence is often quiet. Quiet confidence is powerful. Another important idea is allowing yourself to be ordinary. Ordinary moments build comfort. Comfort builds confidence. Another reason people struggle to be themselves is expecting immediate acceptance. Acceptance grows over time. Give it time. Another important idea is noticing relief when you stop trying. That relief is guidance. Follow it. Another cause of awkwardness is fear of being forgettable. Memorability is not required. Presence is enough. Another important idea is trusting that your voice matters, even if it is soft. Soft voices can be strong. Another reason people overthink authenticity is thinking it must be consistent. You can be different in different moments. Human behavior varies. Confidence allows variation. Another important idea is that authenticity improves listening. When you are yourself, you listen better. Listening strengthens connection. Another cause of awkwardness is resisting who you are. Resistance creates tension. Acceptance releases it. Another important idea is practicing self-acceptance outside conversations. Acceptance carries into communication. Another reason people struggle is fear of being misunderstood. Misunderstanding happens. Clarification is possible. Confidence allows clarification. Another important idea is recognizing growth. You may not feel different, but you are practicing differently. Practice changes patterns. Another cause of awkwardness is impatience. Authenticity builds gradually. Give it time. Another important idea is remembering that people respond to sincerity. Sincerity builds trust. Trust reduces awkwardness. Another reason being yourself feels hard is forgetting shared humanity. Everyone feels unsure sometimes. You are not alone. Another important idea is letting go of the need to impress. Impressing distracts. Presence connects. Another cause of awkwardness is internal conflict. You want to speak but also hide. Resolve conflict by allowing expression. Another important idea is trusting yourself to handle outcomes. Trust builds confidence. Another reason people struggle is fear of mistakes. Mistakes humanize. Human connection is forgiving. Another important idea is staying present when discomfort appears. Presence allows discomfort to pass. Another cause of awkwardness is overthinking tone. Tone follows calm. Calm comes from acceptance. Another important idea is practicing honesty in small ways. Small honesty builds confidence. Another reason being yourself feels risky is past criticism. Past does not define present. Release it. Another important idea is focusing on connection over image. Connection lasts longer. Another cause of awkwardness is mental pressure to be different. You do not need to change to connect. Another important idea is remembering that authenticity attracts the right connections. Not everyone will connect. That is okay. Another reason people struggle is fear of standing out. Standing out is not always negative. Another important idea is noticing how ease returns when you stop monitoring yourself. This is the lesson. Another cause of awkwardness is ignoring inner signals. Listen to them. Another important idea is allowing yourself to be incomplete. You do not need perfect thoughts. Another reason being yourself feels hard is misunderstanding confidence. Confidence is not loud certainty. It is quiet alignment. Another important idea is trusting that you are enough in the moment. Enough does not mean perfect. It means present. Another cause of awkwardness is resisting presence. Presence dissolves tension. Another important idea is committing to authenticity as practice. Practice builds skill. Another reason people struggle is fear of change. Change brings growth. Growth brings confidence. Another important idea is remembering that confidence grows from repetition. Each authentic moment adds strength. Another cause of awkwardness is thinking you must feel confident first. You do not. Acting authentically builds confidence. Another important idea is letting yourself relax into conversations. Relaxation supports authenticity. Another reason being yourself feels hard is ignoring your own approval. Your approval matters. Another important idea is celebrating small wins. Each honest moment counts.
Another cause of awkwardness is forgetting to breathe again.
Breathe. Another important idea is trusting the process. Authenticity unfolds. Another reason people struggle is pressure to be liked again. Release it. Another important idea is grounding in values. Values guide authentic speech. Another cause of awkwardness is fear of silence again. Silence allows authenticity. Another important idea is letting your voice be what it is. No correction needed. Another reason being yourself feels hard is habit of self-criticism. Replace criticism with kindness. Another important idea is remembering that confidence is not a mask. It is comfort. Comfort comes from acceptance. When you stop trying to be someone else, something changes. Your body relaxes. Your words flow more naturally. Your attention stays present. Awkwardness loses strength. Not because you forced confidence, but because you allowed yourself to show up as you are. That is how talking to anyone starts to feel easier. Chapter 8. Using curiosity to make any conversation easier. Curiosity is one of the most powerful tools in conversation. It is simple, it is natural, and it removes pressure instantly. When you feel awkward, your attention turns inward. You focus on how you sound, what to say next, what might go wrong. Curiosity pulls attention outward. Outward attention softens anxiety. Many people think confidence comes from having things to say. In reality, confidence often comes from wanting to understand. Understanding creates connection. Connection reduces awkwardness. Curiosity works because it replaces performance with interest. You are no longer trying to impress. You are exploring. Exploration feels lighter. Another important truth is this: you do not need to fake curiosity. Real curiosity comes from presence. When you listen, curiosity appears naturally. Listening reveals details. Details invite questions. Questions keep conversations moving. Another reason curiosity helps is that it gives you direction. Instead of searching your mind for topics, you follow what appears. Following feels easier than forcing. Another important idea is that curiosity slows pace. When you are curious, you listen more. Listening slows your body. Slower bodies feel calmer. Calm bodies communicate better. Another reason conversations feel awkward is pressure to respond quickly. Curiosity removes this pressure. You can take time. Taking time feels thoughtful. Thoughtfulness feels confident. Another important idea is curiosity creates safety. People feel safe when they are genuinely heard. Safety encourages openness. Openness keeps conversations alive. Another reason curiosity helps is that it shifts responsibility. Conversation becomes shared. You are not carrying everything. Shared effort reduces pressure. Another important idea is curiosity about experience, not performance. Focus on what the other person experiences. Experiences feel real. Real conversations feel grounded.
Another reason curiosity reduces awkwardness is that it allows silence.
Silence becomes listening time. Listening time is valuable. Another important idea is curiosity builds momentum. Each answer creates new directions. Momentum feels natural. Another reason conversations feel forced is lack of direction. Curiosity provides direction without control. Control creates tension. Curiosity allows flow. Another important idea is curiosity lowers self-judgment. When you are curious, you stop judging yourself. Judgment pulls attention inward. Curiosity pushes it outward. Another reason curiosity helps is that it aligns with human nature. Humans like to share. Curiosity invites sharing. Another important idea is curiosity respects boundaries. You can adjust depth. If someone opens up, you follow gently. If they pull back, you respect it. Respect builds trust. Trust supports ease. Another reason conversations feel awkward is fear of asking questions. You worry about sounding intrusive. Tone matters more than content. A warm tone feels respectful. Respect reduces awkwardness. Another important idea is curiosity about perspective. You can ask how someone sees things. Perspective questions deepen connection. Depth increases engagement. Another reason curiosity helps is that it reduces self-focus again. Less self-focus means less awkwardness. Another important idea is curiosity works even when you are nervous. You do not need to feel confident to be curious. Curiosity can exist alongside nervousness. This makes it accessible. Another reason conversations feel awkward is trying to be interesting. Curiosity removes that need. Interest flows naturally when you are interested. Another important idea is curiosity helps you recover from awkward moments. If something feels off, curiosity can reset. You can ask. You can listen. Resetting restores flow. Another reason curiosity helps is that it creates equality. You are not performing above or below. You are engaging side by side. Equality feels comfortable. Another important idea is curiosity supports memory. When you are curious, you remember more. Remembering details improves future conversations. Improved conversations build confidence. Another reason conversations feel forced is pushing topics. Curiosity follows topics. Following feels natural. Another important idea is curiosity encourages patience. Patience reduces tension. Another reason curiosity helps is that it gives permission to pause. Pauses are part of curiosity. Pauses allow thinking. Another important idea is curiosity improves listening quality. Quality listening is rare. People appreciate it. Appreciation builds connection. Another reason conversations feel awkward is emotional guarding. Curiosity opens gently. Gentle openness feels safe. Another important idea is curiosity helps in difficult conversations. Understanding reduces conflict. Reduced conflict reduces awkwardness. Another reason curiosity works is that it keeps conversations fresh. Freshness prevents stagnation. Another important idea is curiosity invites storytelling. Stories deepen engagement. Engagement reduces awkwardness. Another reason conversations feel forced is lack of emotional connection. Curiosity builds emotional connection. Another important idea is curiosity removes pressure to talk. Listening counts as participation. Another reason curiosity helps is that it feels genuine. Genuine interactions feel good. Another important idea is curiosity works in short conversations too. Even brief interest creates warmth. Another reason conversations feel awkward is fear of being boring. Curiosity makes conversations interesting. Another important idea is curiosity allows you to stay present. Presence dissolves awkwardness. Another reason curiosity helps is that it adapts to context. It works anywhere. Another important idea is curiosity supports authenticity. You are responding honestly. Another reason conversations feel forced is overthinking structure. Curiosity lets structure emerge. Another important idea is curiosity allows flexibility. Flexibility supports ease. Another reason curiosity helps is that it aligns with kindness. Kindness builds trust. Another important idea is curiosity invites mutual discovery. Discovery is engaging. Another reason conversations feel awkward is lack of engagement. Curiosity increases engagement. Another important idea is curiosity helps with silence again. Silence becomes space for thought. Another reason curiosity works is that it gives conversations meaning. Meaningful moments reduce awkwardness. Another important idea is curiosity keeps you grounded. Grounded presence feels confident. Another reason conversations feel forced is fear of uncertainty. Curiosity embraces uncertainty. Another important idea is curiosity allows you to enjoy conversation. Enjoyment relaxes. Another reason curiosity helps is that it builds confidence indirectly. Confidence grows through ease. Another important idea is curiosity is a skill. It improves with practice. Another reason conversations feel awkward is not practicing curiosity intentionally. Practice builds habit. Another important idea is curiosity does not require cleverness. Simple interest is enough. Another reason curiosity helps is that it removes the spotlight from you. Spotlight pressure fades. Another important idea is curiosity works even when words are few. Presence matters more. Another reason conversations feel awkward is trying to control impression. Curiosity releases control. Another important idea is curiosity aligns with listening again. Listening is the foundation. Another reason curiosity helps is that it invites mutual respect. Respect builds comfort. Another important idea is curiosity creates flow naturally. Flow reduces awkwardness. Another reason conversations feel forced is fear of not knowing what to say. Curiosity shows you what to say. Another important idea is curiosity supports empathy. Empathy deepens connection. Another reason curiosity helps is that it feels human. Human interactions are forgiving. Another important idea is curiosity allows conversations to end naturally. When curiosity fades, ending feels right. Another reason conversations feel awkward is holding on to them too long. Curiosity guides timing. Another important idea is curiosity encourages openness without pressure. Pressure blocks openness. Another reason curiosity helps is that it builds confidence quietly. Quiet confidence lasts. Another important idea is curiosity shifts focus from outcome to process. Process feels lighter. Another reason conversations feel forced is focusing on results. Curiosity enjoys the moment. Another important idea is curiosity is always available. You can choose it anytime. Another reason curiosity helps is that it makes conversations feel like exploration. Exploration is engaging. Another important idea is curiosity strengthens connection, even in brief moments. Brief moments matter. Another reason conversations feel awkward is forgetting to be interested. Interest is the key. When you replace performance with curiosity, something changes. Your body relaxes, your mind slows, your attention opens. Conversation becomes easier, not because you learned clever techniques, but because you chose curiosity over fear. And curiosity naturally leads you out of awkwardness and into connection. Chapter 9. Handling rejection without taking it personally. Rejection is one of the biggest fears behind awkwardness. Not because rejection always happens, but because the possibility feels heavy. Many people avoid conversations because they fear being ignored. They fear short answers. They fear disinterest. This fear shapes behavior. Confidence grows when you change how you understand rejection. The first truth is simple. Not every interaction is meant to connect. This is not failure, it is reality. People carry their own moods, their own stress, their own focus. A short response often has nothing to do with you, but the mind takes it personally. Personalizing creates pain. Pain creates avoidance. Avoidance increases awkwardness. Confidence breaks this cycle by separating self-worth from response. A response is information. It is not a verdict. Information tells you about the moment, not about your value. Another important idea is that rejection is often subtle. It shows up as distraction, as low energy, as brief replies. These signals are not attacks, they are cues. Cues guide adjustment. Adjustment is awareness. Awareness feels confident. Another reason rejection feels painful is expectation. You expect engagement. When it does not happen, disappointment appears. Lowering expectation reduces pain. Expectation does not mean hope. It means demand. Release demand. Hope can stay. Another important idea is that not all disinterest is rejection. Sometimes people are tired. Sometimes they are preoccupied. Assuming rejection increases anxiety. Confidence waits for clearer information. Another reason rejection hurts is identity attachment. You think rejection means you are unlikable. This belief is not accurate. One interaction cannot define you. Confidence protects identity. Another important idea is choice. You can choose how to respond to low engagement. You can adjust topic. You can pause. You can end calmly. Choice restores power. Power reduces awkwardness. Another reason rejection feels intense is emotional memory. Past rejections leave marks. Your brain remembers pain. It tries to protect you. Protection can become avoidance. Confidence acknowledges protection without obeying it. Another important idea is staying grounded when engagement drops. Grounding prevents panic. Panic escalates discomfort. Calm allows clarity. Another reason rejection feels awkward is fear of being seen as needy. Neediness comes from chasing validation. Confidence does not chase. It offers connection. If connection is not received, it withdraws gracefully. Grace feels confident. Another important idea is that rejection is not always negative. It saves time. It redirects energy. Energy spent forcing connection is wasted. Confidence respects energy. Another reason rejection feels painful is lack of self-compassion. You criticize yourself. Criticism increases hurt. Kindness softens it. Another important idea is normalizing rejection. Everyone experiences it. Even confident people. Difference lies in interpretation. Interpretation shapes emotion. Another reason rejection creates awkwardness is rumination. You replay moments. Replay magnifies pain. Confidence limits replay. Learn briefly, then move on. Another important idea is staying curious instead of defensive. Curiosity asks, what is happening? Defense assumes threat. Curiosity reduces fear. Another reason rejection feels personal is imagined judgment. You imagine what others think. Imagination feels real. Return to facts. Facts are calmer. Another important idea is that confident communication includes boundaries. You do not need to push where energy is low. Respecting boundaries builds dignity. Dignity strengthens confidence. Another reason rejection hurts is social comparison. You compare yourself to others. Comparison intensifies pain. Release comparison. Everyone has different moments. Another important idea is reframing rejection as mismatch. Mismatch does not mean deficiency. It means difference. Difference is neutral. Another reason rejection feels awkward is desire for approval. Approval feels good. Dependence weakens confidence. Confidence appreciates approval without needing it. Another important idea is that rejection often fades quickly. People forget interactions. You hold them longer than others do. Confidence releases faster. Another reason rejection hurts is overinvestment. You invest too much too soon. Gradual investment reduces pain. Another important idea is allowing yourself to feel disappointment. Do not suppress it. Feel it briefly, then let it pass. Suppression increases intensity. Another reason rejection creates awkwardness is fear of future interactions. Past experiences influence expectations. Awareness resets expectations. Each interaction is new. Another important idea is practicing recovery. Recovery matters more than avoidance. Recovery builds resilience. Resilience supports confidence. Another reason rejection feels personal is internal narratives. Stories like "I am not interesting." Stories are not facts. Challenge them. Another important idea is noticing moments when you are not rejected. Most interactions are neutral or positive. Negativity bias distorts memory. Confidence corrects bias. Another reason rejection hurts is lack of perspective. One moment feels large. Perspective shrinks it. Another important idea is choosing dignity over persistence. Persistence in low interest feels awkward. Dignity feels calm. Another reason rejection feels painful is fear of loneliness. Loneliness is real. Connection grows through openness. Not every attempt succeeds. Confidence continues trying. Another important idea is practicing detachment. Detachment does not mean coldness. It means flexibility. Flexibility protects confidence. Another reason rejection creates awkwardness is emotional attachment to outcome. Release outcome. Focus on presence. Another important idea is that rejection teaches awareness. Awareness improves future interactions. Learning builds skill. Skill builds confidence. Another reason rejection hurts is inner silence. After you withdraw. Withdrawal increases fear. Staying open builds strength. Another important idea is grounding again. Breath stabilizes emotion. Another reason rejection feels personal is lack of self-validation. Validate yourself. Your effort matters. Another important idea is remembering your values. Speak with respect. Values remain even when rejected. Another reason rejection hurts is unrealistic standards. You expect universal acceptance. This is impossible. Confidence accepts limitation. Another important idea is noticing relief when you stop chasing. Relief signals wisdom. Another reason rejection creates awkwardness is fear of being forgotten. Forgetting is normal. It is not erasure. Another important idea is trusting your ability to connect again. One rejection does not end possibility. Another reason rejection hurts is pressure to be liked. Release pressure. Pressure creates tension. Another important idea is returning to curiosity after rejection. Curiosity keeps you open. Another reason rejection feels awkward is avoidance afterward. Avoidance strengthens fear. Gentle exposure reduces it. Another important idea is allowing time. Emotion fades. Confidence grows. Another reason rejection hurts is self-blame. Blame is heavy. Learning is light. Choose learning. Another important idea is recognizing courage. Reaching out takes courage. Courage deserves respect. Another reason rejection feels personal is forgetting context. Context matters. Another important idea is seeing rejection as feedback. Feedback informs adjustment. Adjustment improves communication. Another reason rejection hurts is isolation. Talk about experiences. Sharing normalizes. Another important idea is remembering that connection is mutual. Both sides contribute. Another reason rejection creates awkwardness is fear of trying again. Trying again builds confidence. Another important idea is patience with yourself. Growth takes time. Another reason rejection hurts is forgetting progress. You are learning. Another important idea is staying present after rejection. Do not mentally leave. Presence builds resilience. Another reason rejection feels personal is identity confusion. You are not defined by response. Another important idea is accepting that not everyone will connect with you. This is normal. Confidence grows from acceptance. Another reason rejection hurts is expecting control. Control is illusion. Another important idea is choosing self-respect. Self-respect protects confidence. Another reason rejection creates awkwardness is fear of repeating pain. Pain is temporary. Confidence survives it. Another important idea is grounding in breath again. Breath calms. Another reason rejection hurts is forgetting humanity. Everyone experiences it. Another important idea is trusting that you can handle rejection. You already have. That trust builds confidence. When you stop taking rejection personally, conversations feel lighter. You speak more freely. You listen more openly. You recover faster. Awkwardness loses power, not because rejection disappears, but because it no longer defines you. And when rejection no longer defines you, confidence has room to grow. Chapter 10. Speaking with confidence, even when you feel nervous. Feeling nervous does not mean you lack confidence. It means you care. Many people believe confident speakers feel calm all the time. This belief is wrong. Even confident people feel nervous. The difference is how they respond to that feeling. Nervousness is energy. It is not a flaw. When you label nervousness as a problem, tension grows. When you see it as normal, it softens. Confidence begins with acceptance. Your body reacts before your mind. Heart beats faster. Breath becomes shallow. Thoughts speed up. This happens automatically. Fighting these sensations makes them stronger. Allowing them makes them pass. Another important idea is this: you do not need to feel confident to speak confidently. Action can lead feeling. If you wait for nervousness to disappear, you may wait forever. Confidence grows when you act with nervousness present. Another reason nervousness feels overwhelming is attention. You focus on symptoms. Focusing amplifies sensation. Shifting attention outward reduces intensity. Return to listening. Return to the moment. Presence grounds nervous energy. Another important idea is slowing down. Nervousness speeds speech. Fast speech increases pressure. Slow your pace slightly. Slowing sends a signal of safety to your body. Safety calms nerves. Another reason nervousness affects confidence is shallow breathing. Shallow breathing keeps the body tense. Gentle, deeper breaths release tension. You do not need dramatic breathing. Natural, slow breaths are enough. Another important idea is posture. Your posture influences your nervous system. Collapsed posture increases anxiety. Open posture supports calm. Small adjustments matter. Another reason nervousness feels intense is fear of exposure. You feel seen. Being seen feels risky, but visibility does not equal danger. Remind yourself of this. Another important idea is focusing on meaning instead of delivery. What you want to say matters more than how it sounds. Meaning grounds you. Grounded speech feels confident. Another reason nervousness creates awkwardness is overthinking words. You try to choose perfect phrasing. Perfection increases pressure. Simple words work best. Another important idea is permission. Give yourself permission to be nervous and speak anyway. This permission reduces inner conflict. Inner conflict fuels anxiety. Another reason nervousness feels personal is memory. Past embarrassing moments linger. Your brain remembers them. Those moments are not happening now. Return to now. Another important idea is normalization. Most people feel nervous at times. You are not different. You are human. Another reason nervousness affects confidence is self-judgment. You judge yourself for feeling nervous. Judgment increases tension. Replace judgment with kindness. Kindness calms. Another important idea is preparation. Without rigidity, preparation builds familiarity. Rigidity creates pressure. Know your intention, then stay flexible. Another reason nervousness lingers is fear of mistakes. Mistakes happen, they rarely matter. Confidence recovers. Another important idea is grounding through senses. Notice sounds, notice movement. This pulls attention out of anxiety loops. Another reason nervousness feels strong is lack of trust in yourself. Trust grows through experience. Each time you speak, despite nervousness, trust builds. Another important idea is reframing nervousness as readiness. Your body is preparing you. Preparation can help focus. Another reason nervousness blocks confidence is comparison. You compare yourself to calm speakers. You do not see their inner state. Comparison distorts reality. Another important idea is allowing pauses. Pauses help you regulate. They are not signs of weakness. Pauses show thought. Another reason nervousness creates awkwardness is rushing endings. Rushing comes from fear. Slow endings feel calmer. Another important idea is practicing exposure. Small speaking moments matter. Exposure reduces fear gradually. Another reason nervousness persists is avoidance. Avoidance teaches the brain to fear. Engagement teaches safety. Another important idea is accepting discomfort. Discomfort is temporary. Confidence tolerates it. Another reason nervousness feels overwhelming is thinking it must disappear. It does not. You can function with it. Another important idea is staying curious. Curiosity reduces fear. Ask questions. Listen. Listening grounds you. Another reason nervousness affects confidence is inner pressure to be perfect. Release perfection. Progress matters more. Another important idea is recovery. If you stumble, recover calmly. Recovery builds confidence faster than perfection. Another reason nervousness feels personal is identity attachment. You think nervousness defines you. It does not. It is a state. Another important idea is patience. Confidence grows over time. Be patient with yourself. Another reason nervousness blocks confidence is thinking others notice everything. They do not. They focus on meaning. Another important idea is self-validation. Acknowledge effort. Effort builds confidence. Another reason nervousness persists is lack of rest. Fatigue amplifies anxiety. Care for yourself. Another important idea is breathing again. Breath resets the nervous system. Another reason nervousness affects confidence is fear of silence. Silence is okay. Use it. Another important idea is grounding in values. Speak because it matters to you. Values strengthen voice. Another reason nervousness creates awkwardness is internal pressure to impress. Release impressing. Focus on connecting. Another important idea is trusting your voice. It may shake slightly. That is okay. Your message still matters. Another reason nervousness feels intense is anticipation. Anticipation exaggerates fear. Return to present. Another important idea is recognizing growth. You are speaking more. That matters. Another reason nervousness blocks confidence is forgetting past successes. Remember them. They prove capability. Another important idea is allowing confidence to coexist with nervousness. They are not opposites. They can exist together. Another reason nervousness feels like failure is misunderstanding confidence. Confidence is not calmness. It is courage. Courage is acting with fear present. Another important idea is staying grounded until the end. Do not mentally leave early. Presence supports clarity. Another reason nervousness persists is fear of judgment. Judgment fades. Presence remains. Another important idea is choosing action again. Each action weakens fear. Another reason nervousness affects confidence is lack of compassion. Offer yourself compassion. Another important idea is trusting the process. Confidence grows through repetition. Another reason nervousness feels overwhelming is thinking it will last forever. It will not. Feelings pass. Another important idea is reminding yourself that speaking matters. Connection matters. Another reason nervousness blocks confidence is forgetting shared humanity. Others feel it too. Another important idea is accepting nervousness as part of growth. Growth is uncomfortable. Confidence grows there. Another reason nervousness feels strong is resisting it. Stop resisting. Allow. Another important idea is staying present with discomfort. Presence dissolves fear. Another reason nervousness affects confidence is rushing again. Slow down. Another important idea is trusting yourself enough to speak. Trust builds confidence. When you stop waiting to feel confident and start speaking anyway, something changes. Nervousness no longer controls you. It becomes background noise. Your voice steadies. Your presence strengthens. Confidence grows quietly, not because fear disappeared, but because you learned to speak, even when it was there. That is real confidence in conversation. Chapter 11. Turning small talk into real connection. Small talk has a bad reputation. Many people think it is shallow, pointless, awkward. But small talk is not the problem. Pressure is. Small talk feels awkward when you expect it to be meaningful too quickly. In reality, small talk is a bridge. It connects strangers to familiarity. Confidence grows when you understand this purpose. Small talk is not meant to impress. It is meant to warm up. Warm-up moments allow people to feel safe. Safety is the foundation of connection. When you stop judging small talk, it becomes easier. Another reason small talk feels awkward is overthinking. You think it must lead somewhere important. This expectation creates pressure. Pressure tightens conversation. Release expectation. Let small talk be what it is. Another important idea is that small talk reveals energy, tone, mood, availability. These signals guide next steps. Guidance prevents awkward pushes. Another reason small talk feels uncomfortable is fear of repetition. You think topics are boring. Boring topics are not the issue. Bored attention. Attention makes any topic interesting. Another important idea is curiosity again. Curiosity turns simple topics into connection points. You do not need deep questions. Simple interest works. Another reason small talk feels forced is rushing depth. Depth cannot be forced. It appears when comfort exists. Comfort grows through light interaction. Another important idea is listening for emotional cues. Even casual words carry emotion. Emotion opens doors. Another reason small talk feels awkward is self-judgment. You judge your words. Judgment interrupts flow. Let words pass without critique. Another important idea is authenticity in small talk. You do not need to sound excited if you are calm. Calm presence is enough. Another reason small talk feels shallow is comparison. You compare it to deep conversations. They serve different purposes. Both matter. Another important idea is using small talk to build rhythm. Rhythm makes conversation easier. Ease supports depth later. Another reason small talk feels awkward is pressure to be funny. Humor is optional. Kindness matters more. Another important idea is observing how connection grows naturally. It grows through shared moments. Small talk creates those moments. Another reason small talk feels uncomfortable is fear of silence. Silence can exist between light topics. Allow it. Another important idea is recognizing that small talk ends naturally. It does not need to transform. Transformation may happen, or it may not. Both are fine. Another reason small talk feels forced is trying to steer it. Steering creates stiffness. Following creates ease. Another important idea is responding honestly. If something interests you, show it. If not, respond politely. Honesty reduces tension. Another reason small talk feels awkward is thinking it defines you. It does not. It is a moment. Another important idea is patience. Connection builds slowly. Small talk is the beginning. Another reason small talk feels shallow is lack of presence. Presence deepens even light topics. Another important idea is noticing relief when pressure drops. Relief shows the way. Another reason small talk feels awkward is forgetting shared humanity. Everyone uses it. Another important idea is allowing yourself to enjoy simplicity. Simplicity relaxes. Relaxation allows connection. Another reason small talk feels forced is fear of being forgettable. Presence is memorable. Another important idea is trusting that depth follows comfort. Comfort comes first. Another reason small talk feels awkward is trying to skip steps. Steps exist for a reason. Another important idea is recognizing small talk as practice. Practice builds confidence. Another reason small talk feels uncomfortable is impatience. Patience allows unfolding. Another important idea is noticing when conversation naturally deepens. Let it. Do not push. Another reason small talk feels awkward is overthinking again. Overthinking blocks flow. Another important idea is accepting lightness. Lightness has value. Another reason small talk feels forced is pressure to perform socially. Release performance. Be present. Another important idea is appreciating small moments. Small moments build trust. Another reason small talk feels awkward is fear of judgment. Judgment fades. Connection remains. Another important idea is letting small talk end without regret. Endings are fine. Another reason small talk feels shallow is misunderstanding its role. It prepares. Another important idea is trusting yourself to navigate naturally. You already can. Another reason small talk feels awkward is lack of self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Another important idea is grounding through breath again. Breath steadies. Another reason small talk feels forced is trying to control outcome. Release outcome. Another important idea is allowing conversation to stay light. Light does not mean empty. Another reason small talk feels awkward is thinking you must say something clever. Simple words work. Another important idea is noticing when comfort appears. Comfort signals readiness for depth. Another reason small talk feels uncomfortable is ignoring cues. Watch cues. Another important idea is staying curious. Curiosity always helps. Another reason small talk feels forced is fear of being ordinary. Ordinary connects. Another important idea is letting yourself be relaxed. Relaxation supports ease. Another reason small talk feels awkward is forgetting purpose. Purpose is connection. Another important idea is recognizing that real connection often begins with simple words. When you stop fighting small talk, it changes. It becomes lighter, more natural, less awkward. And from that light space, real connection begins to grow. Chapter 12. Making ease a habit, not a performance. Talking without feeling awkward is not about learning a perfect way to speak. It is about changing how you relate to yourself in conversations. Awkwardness does not disappear because you mastered techniques. It fades because you stopped fighting normal human moments. Confidence grows when ease becomes a habit. A habit is something you return to automatically. You do not force it. You do not think about it. You simply do it. Ease works the same way. At first, ease feels unfamiliar. Your mind may still search for rules. Your body may still tense sometimes. That is normal. Habits take time to form. What matters is repetition, not perfection. Every time you stay present instead of panicking, you reinforce ease. Every time you listen instead of performing, you strengthen confidence. Every time you allow silence without judgment, you build trust in yourself. Trust is the foundation of ease. Many people think confidence means never feeling awkward again. This belief creates pressure. Pressure brings awkwardness back. Real confidence is different. Real confidence is knowing you can handle awkward moments calmly. It is knowing you do not need to escape them. Awkwardness becomes just another passing feeling. Another important idea is this: you do not need to fix yourself. There is nothing broken. You are not behind. You are not lacking something others have. You are learning how to relax into connection. Relaxation changes everything. When you are relaxed, your voice settles. Your thoughts slow. Your attention opens. Conversations feel easier because you are no longer fighting them. Another reason ease becomes a habit is self-acceptance. When you accept who you are, you stop editing constantly. Editing creates delay. Delay creates self-consciousness. Acceptance removes that loop. Another important idea is consistency. Small moments matter more than big ones. A brief exchange at a store, a short comment at work, a simple greeting. These moments train your nervous system. They teach it that connection is safe. Safety creates ease. Another important truth is that confidence grows quietly. You may not notice it day to day, but one day, you will realize something changed. You speak sooner. You recover faster. You think less. This is habit working. Another challenge people face is slipping back into old patterns. This will happen. Old habits fade slowly. Do not judge yourself when awkwardness returns. Judgment strengthens old patterns. Kindness weakens them. Each time you respond kindly to yourself, ease deepens. Another important idea is integration. You do not use one skill at a time. Listening, curiosity, pauses, acceptance, all work together. Together they create natural flow. Flow is not something you create. It is something you allow. Another truth is that ease improves with familiarity. The more you expose yourself gently, the easier it becomes. Avoidance keeps awkwardness alive. Engagement weakens it. Engagement does not mean pushing yourself hard. It means staying open. Another important idea is presence. Presence is the most powerful skill you have. When you are present, you do not need to impress. You do not need to manage perception. You simply respond. Presence turns conversations into shared experiences. Shared experiences feel natural. Another challenge is the desire to be liked by everyone. This desire creates pressure. Not everyone will connect with you. That is not a problem. Ease comes from accepting this truth. Acceptance removes desperation. Another important idea is patience with growth. Confidence develops over time. Some days will feel easy. Some will feel awkward again. This does not mean you are failing. It means you are human. Another truth is that awkwardness often signals care. You care about connection. Caring is strength. When you stop treating care as weakness, ease appears. Another important idea is self-respect. Speak when you want to. Pause when you need to. Leave when it feels right. Respecting your inner signals builds confidence. Another challenge is overthinking progress. Progress is not linear. Do not measure every interaction. Live them. Confidence grows when you stop measuring. Another important idea is grounding in the body. When you feel nervous, return to breath. Breath resets your system. This simple act supports ease. Another truth is that you already know how to connect. You did it before you started overthinking. Ease is not something new. It is something remembered. Another important idea is trust. Trust that conversation will unfold. Trust that silence will pass. Trust that you can recover. Trust removes fear. Another challenge is thinking confidence must look a certain way. It does not. Quiet confidence is real. Calm presence is powerful. Another important idea is authenticity again. When you stop trying to sound right, you sound natural. Natural speech connects. Another truth is that ease spreads. When you are relaxed, others relax. This creates positive loops. Another important idea is choosing curiosity over control. Control tightens. Curiosity opens. Another challenge is fear of forgetting everything you learned. You do not need to remember. Habits remember for you. Another important idea is reflection without judgment. Reflect to learn, not to criticize. Learning strengthens ease. Another truth is that confidence is built through experience. Reading helps. Practice changes. Each conversation adds experience. Another important idea is forgiveness. Forgive past awkwardness. It taught you something. Another truth is that ease feels lighter than effort. If something feels heavy, release pressure. Another important idea is letting go of labels. You are not awkward. You experience awkward moments. Moments pass. Another truth is that connection is resilient. It survives pauses and imperfections. Another important idea is gratitude. Be grateful for opportunities to connect. Gratitude softens fear. Another challenge is staying patient with yourself. Patience allows habits to form. Another important idea is trusting your growth, even if you cannot see it yet. Another truth is that you do not need to change your personality. You only need to stop fighting it. Another important idea is remembering why you wanted ease, to feel relaxed, to feel connected, to feel human. Those goals are already within reach. Another truth is that ease is not dramatic. It is subtle. It shows up as calm, as steadiness, as fewer thoughts. Another important idea is choosing presence again and again. Presence is always available. Another truth is that talking without feeling awkward is not about becoming someone new. It is about becoming more comfortable being yourself. When ease becomes a habit, conversations stop feeling like challenges. They feel like moments. Moments you can enter calmly. Moments you can leave naturally. Moments you can enjoy. And when you live this way, talking to anyone no longer feels awkward. It feels human. And that is the real goal.